You're listening to the Property Nomads Podcast, your one-stop shop for property, business and travel-related content, tying it all together to help guide you towards success. If you like the podcast, please share with others, subscribe and leave us a review. So get your gear together and let's get going.
Welcome to another episode of the Property Nomads Podcast, Euro 2021 semi-final and final. Rob reflects. Don't worry, this is not all about football. If I do start spontaneously crying, I'm still gutted that England lost there in their own backyard, arguably against the best team in the tournament in Italy. But there is an underlying theme to this episode. The reason for this, and it's something we talk about a lot on the podcast, it's about taking opportunities and taking risks when necessary, when you know that the rewards will outweigh any negatives. Then, you know, a risk-reward basis, sometimes it is good to take risks. And this is kind of what we done, and this is how we ended up with tickets for the final. So Aaron and myself did go. We were there at the final at Wembley, and also I went with a friend Adi to the semi-final, the England semi-final at Wembley as well. Now, how has all this come about? Well, in a nutshell, what I found great was the fact that England got to a men's major final in football for the first time in 55 years. People that I know don't even like football as such were gripped by England being in a major final. And also when I said, oh yeah, I've got tickets, I'll be there, and I was sending photos, a few choice words from people, oh you lucky bastard, a few other things that I won't repeat on the podcast, because there's this natural fever, as such, football fever, gripping people, even if people weren't football fans. And I thought that was interesting, and everyone was asking the same question: how did you get tickets, what happened, etc, etc, etc. So I'll quickly explain that, and then again it goes back to the underlying theme or message from this episode. It's where taking opportunities is important, and also the risk versus reward. Spoiler alert, there wasn't a happy ending at the end, which is disappointing. In terms of getting tickets, Aaron and I, we don't really do a lot of extravagant holidays. We don't drive around in fancy flash cars. It's not really our thing. For us, it's about sporting events. We've been lucky enough to attend Olympic events in 2012 in London. Also Paralympics as well in London. We went to the World Cup in Brazil. From there, we were able to go to the Copa Libertadores final in 2014 in Paraguay, of all places, the final first leg. We've been in Colombia when the Copa Sudamericana, which is like the South American equivalent of the Europa League, we were lucky enough to be in Medellin when that final was happening. Although we didn't go to the game, we were involved in a massive street party for that game. And we've seen loads of things, because sporting events for us is what keeps us going. That's what we want. It's the travel, it's the experience of being there. So that's why you don't see us driving around in flash cars, going on fancy holidays as such. That's the thing for us. So when Euro 2020 came about, all the qualification and bits and bobs kind of finished, or most of it had finished 2019. And as always, there's a ticket ballot. There's a ballot. So we worked out some games that we wanted to go to, because the tournament was spread around Europe. So we looked at everything and said, well, we don't really want to go to Wembley because, it'd be nice to see England, but we want to go and see other countries. So we balloted to get some tickets for Glasgow, Dublin, also Copenhagen, and we applied for final tickets. We didn't apply for semi-final tickets, we applied for final tickets. So the first wave of ticketing had finished. We were allocated games in Glasgow, Dublin, a second one in Glasgow. Our friend got allocated some tickets in Copenhagen, which we didn't want, so we got Copenhagen tickets as well. And we didn't get any final tickets, which was a disappointment, but it is what it is. Bear in mind, this is 2019. Then there was a ticket resale. So people that were allocated tickets that didn't want them for whatever reason were then handing them back. And I was sat online, I think it was 2019, whenever it was, and had an email come through to say that the resale portal is open, and there you are, first come, first served. And I remember saying to Aaron that day, give him a ring and said, Aaron, I've got a resale portal coming up. If there are tickets for the final at Wembley, because it was at Wembley, if there are tickets for the final, I'm just going to buy them. Just going to buy them. We'll deal with it later on in terms of cost. I sat on the website, everything loaded up, and there was an option to get tickets for the final. So I just booked them. And again, bear in mind, this is 2019. Not really looking too far in the future. We'd always said we wanted to go to a major final of some sort. We were lucky enough actually to be in Euro 2016. Aaron and our friend Adi had gone round for quite a few weeks in France. We got tickets for the semi-final between Wales and Portugal. So we've always said that to get to a major final would be a great experience, a wonderful experience. So we got tickets. That's how we got the tickets. The pandemic came along and that pushed the tournament back a year. Also meant that things were delayed, tickets were cancelled, UEFA offered the chance for everyone to hand their tickets back. And Aaron and I spoke about it in depth. We agreed that we would hand back all the other tickets, that we'd hand back the group stage tickets and the second round tickets. I was going to hand back the final tickets. I thought that getting the cash back in my account would be great. Aaron thought otherwise, and he said, and again, this is mid-2020 now, maybe March, April 2020, he said, look, keep the final tickets, because if England are there, we'll be seeing England at a major final at Wembley, on home turf. Plus with travel restrictions, the finals in our own country, getting from A to B, probably not going to be too difficult. So reluctantly, I agreed. In the meantime, again, our friend Adi had actually got semi-final tickets, and I snapped up that semi-final ticket as well because he'd planned out following England up and down. And there you have it. That's how we got tickets. Not really rocket science. A bit of being in the right place at the right time. But the underlying story is this: you fast forward to 2021. Tournament kicks off. There's been a few changes, travel restrictions here and there. Tournament kicks off. We've got tickets to the final, so we're sitting back going, oh yeah, this is great, whatever happens happens. And then England keep winning. Oh, okay, get through the group stage, this is good. Okay, round of 16, Germany, oh dear, whew, this is tough. Okay, yeah, beat Germany 2-0, fantastic. The minute Muller, if you've watched that game, the minute Muller misses that chance, I said to myself, this is destiny, England are going to win this thing. And then just before the Ukraine game, Adi and I met up to, we do some rambling every now and then. And we met up for a ramble. And he was amazing. I was been very quiet about semi-final tickets, purely because I'd forgotten that I had one. So he told me, that made my day. And then I watched England-Ukraine quarter-final with trepidation to an extent, because I knew that, England get through to the semi-final, it would be awesome. And I was going at Wembley. How cool is that? England won 4-0 against Ukraine, got through to the semi-final. Semi-final against Denmark, just extraordinary. The idea of being able to watch England in a major semi-final, men's football, major semi-final, I know there's been experiences before, Italia 90, Euro 96, the World Cup from 2018, England-Denmark semi-final. I didn't think I'd be that nervous, but I was pretty much shaking for 120 minutes. The elation when England won was, incredible. I'm not going to try and describe it because I believe it's pretty much indescribable. Pandemonium, absolute pandemonium. And then it quite dawned on me that, holy shit, I'm seeing England in a major final, football, major men's football final. There's not many people in the world that have ever seen that happen. You have to go back to 1966, of course, for the World Cup final against West Germany. So I'm going to be there on Sunday. They're playing Italy in the European Championships final at Wembley. I think we've got destiny in our own hands. I think we're going to win anyway. This is, wow. And it didn't really dawn on me at all. It didn't dawn really on Aaron pretty much until a few days after the game. So kept ourselves occupied till the final, went to the final, I must admit, we didn't see any of the issues that people have highlighted, people breaking in or anything like that. We didn't see any of that. It all seemed to us relatively warm-natured, but then we kind of kept ourselves to ourselves. We were just walking around the ground, chatting with people before the game. Then the game happened. Couldn't ask for a better start. 1-0, happy days. And then from there, whatever. I mean, it's all a bunch of what-ifs. But the reflection at the end of the day is that a lot of people are jealous that we'd ended up with tickets, but this has been planned for a couple of years. What we didn't plan on was England making the final, and this is where the risk-reward comes in. We always said that if we get tickets to major quarterfinals, semi-finals and finals, at some point, chances are England will be in one of them. You just never know. You can never tell. Now, we didn't know back in 2019 or the start of 2020 that the tournament would even be played, but we certainly weren't expecting England to be in the final. I was going to sell the tickets. Aaron took the risk versus reward approach and went, keep the tickets, you never know. It's a major final. If England aren't in it, not a big deal. If England are in it, absolutely brilliant. And it turned out like that. England made the final. The result was disappointing, without a shadow of doubt. It didn't help that it was absolutely pissing down with rain after the game, and it didn't really sink in. This is why I didn't do an episode about it last week. Emotions too raw. I just didn't know what to say. Now I've taken a bit of time to reflect. For the people that saw everything on it, Instagram, Facebook, whatever. Yeah, we were there. Yes, it was a hell of an experience, to say the least. It was great to be able to see us score. And unfortunately, we lost out on the lottery of penalties. And, taking opportunities. Is that England's best opportunity to win a major football tournament? We don't know. There's a great squad, really good manager. They know what they're doing. They'll probably be back in Qatar anyway, looking to do some damage over there, maybe lifting the World Cup over there as well. But yeah, we were there. But all I can say, humbly, at the end of the day, is that it was an experience. It was a night that we're certainly not going to forget, and I'm sure most people in the country will never forget that. It was an honour to be there, and it wasn't like Aaron, to be fair, had sort of planned ahead, knowing that if England were there, it'd be great for us to say that we've at least seen England in a major final. It's a shame we didn't go on and win it. As I said, when you look back at the whole tournament, you have to hold your hands up and say Italy were the best team, without a shadow of a doubt. They played some great football, worthy winners of the tournament. It's just a shame they lifted the trophy in England's backyard in front of, Anyway, it is what it is. But congratulations to Italy, again, thoroughly deserved. And yes, was at the semi-final with a friend AD. Aaron and I were at the final. Yes, it was an experience. And ultimately, at the end of the day, when you're thinking about experiences and taking opportunities, take them. We'll look back on this for years to come and be grateful that we took the opportunity to get tickets when we could. But it's the same in life. Take your opportunities when they're presented to you. You can always deal with stuff as and when. It'd be nothing worse than looking back with regret. I think that's something that people don't want to do, although we do a lot of the time. So yeah, that's that episode. I haven't burst into tears yet, which is always good. I think I've taken some time to really think about it, and it is what it is. As I always say, don't keep looking at the past. You've got to look at the now. Look forward. Talking of looking forward, I've got some property FAQs on Monday, which is going to be awesome. So check that out. We've got some great interviews coming up as well. And also we are going to start diving into the world of travel as well. We've been lucky enough to find all the photos from our extravaganza in 2014, 2015. There's about 8,000 photos in total to look through. So we're going to create a travel series that's going to start on Thursdays. Not quite sure when, but keep an eye out for the episode feed as well. In the meantime, as always, if you like the podcast, please leave us a review on iTunes. If you've purchased 101 Top Property Tips or Buy to Let How to Get Started, great. If you haven't left a review, please leave a review of those books. That helps to spread the word to the wider world. If you've not yet purchased the books, feel free to go and do so. They're on Amazon, and if you do that, please do leave a review as well. Until next time, auf Wiedersehen, or in this case, arrivederci.